but I'm going to be talking today about networking outside of the switch rooms. So I'm not talking about like networking in your home or cables. I'm talking more about communicating with people and why it's important. And so a little about myself. My name is Menendez. I'm a proud father, a helpful husband, passionate gamer, and overall nerd. I included a picture of my time at FanX here because that was another convention that I love. But I'm also currently a security analyst for Fox Pest Control, and I kind of run their entire security team there. And then I have a master's in management information systems from USU. And so when I was thinking of this, I want to know why network? What's the point? Why is it beneficial to us? Why is this something that you guys came to listen to? What's useful to you? And I think a lot of IT gets a bad reputation for being introverted, especially within the security world. We tend to have the outside view us as introverts that kind of stick to themselves. And networking itself also gets a really bad reputation for only being about getting jobs or for opportunity. And so I kind of want to break out of those two. And I found 3 reasons to network. So those 3 reasons are to maintain sanity, for utility, and then for opportunity. So maintaining sanity, I was thinking having like-minded friends helps a lot. And when I was thinking of this, I don't know if anyone's seen the show New Girl. I don't know if I'll get in trouble for this, but I don't know if anyone's seen the show New Girl, but there's a character in there where they go to a party, and his whole plan at this party, it's a party with a celebrity, and the whole plan is to meet some new friends and become part of a new friend group that's going to raise him higher than his old friends. And he ends up realizing that the friends that he had a lot more things in common and were more like him were a lot better for him. And it ends up switching his mindset completely. And so I think that's important for us too. Finding friends who have the same ideas as us and the same interests is really important. And your friend groups are important to help you thrive. And then for your social networks, I think LinkedIn is another thing that gets a really bad rep because a lot of the times it's used just for job hunting and just for a lot of vendors get on there and it becomes kind of like a vendor page for you and it gets a little annoying. But if you make some solid connections, they're going to help make that a good social network that you're going to want to go to. And it's a really good opportunity. Another one that I was thinking of is the Discord for SAINTCON. I actually spoke with someone yesterday who was from out of state, and he said that when he got invited, he looked at the Discord on SAINTCON, or the SAINTCON Discord, and he said that it really impressed him because we're more of a community than just like a utility page where you go and this is what's going on at SAINTCON, and I just need to see what I came here for. A lot of us communicate on there, and I think that's a really good thing, and we should look for more opportunities like that. Like the local DEF CON groups are something great. I didn't know anything about DEF CON groups until my undergrad in Hawaii, and I was leaving Hawaii, and I was so scared because I was like, I'm going to leave and come to Utah, and I don't know anybody in security, and I'm going to shoot myself in the foot and end up with no friends that have this same mentality. But then I Googled DEF CON group, and I Googled Utah, and I got the DC 435 group and found out about that, and it's been a really great group for me. And then also, I know we talk about like muscle atrophy and how if you don't use your muscles, like you get rid of it. And I think socializing is one of those that works a lot like those muscles, where if you don't exercise it, it's easy to get rid of it and lose it. And so for utility, the first one I came up with is helping hands. So I don't know if anyone hasn't seen Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry if you haven't. Come on. It came out a long time ago. But I love this part because I think about it. I hate the main character in this show, Frodo. If he had not had these friends, he never would have completed his objective. And I think I've seen that as something really helpful with my experience in networking because I've had some projects, especially starting up a security department and coming right out of college and not knowing very much. I could go to my network about certain things that I didn't understand, and it works a lot like a Google search, but a lot more fine-tuned. And so if I had a question about something with app security, I met a few people at SAINTCON that I'd networked with that are really good at that, so I can go straight to them and be like, hey, I had an idea about this. What do you think? And then you get a really fine-tuned search of something from someone you trust instead of 100 different things that Google tells you that you don't know which one you can trust. And then I think another great example for me of this is I I had a resume that I had vetted through my undergrad school and my graduate school. And so I was like, this resume's got to be great now. It's done by both of the career counselors. And then I was like, you know what? Why don't I take it to the professionals that I've met at DC 435 who are actually working in the field and actually hiring people like me? And they tore it apart. And it was one of the best experiences I've had with resumes, because I was able to hear from the people that are actually doing the hiring and hear exactly what they want. And it helped me fine-tune that resume and really helped me grow a relationship with them as well. And then I was thinking another way that networking is useful. I play a game called Warframe, and one of the things that's amazing about that is the community, where you get in, and it's a really hard to begin game, but because the people kind of band together and understand that, then they help each other, and it grows kind of a network where you trust the people that are around you. And I think that's what we need to do with our DC groups and then with our Discord pages that we have, where we can grow a community that we can go to about anything. The next part of utility is mentorship, which I think is extremely helpful. I think we need to move towards this as much as we can. I came last year at SAINTCON, I came to speak with somebody about a job that I was applying to. I reached out to him and I said, hey, I see you're going to be at SAINTCON, and I'm kind of interested in this position. And he said, oh, hey, I work there, I'll let you know. And I found out that we had a lot in common. He actually did the same graduate degree as me at the same school. And he's kind of grown as a mentor for me. And when I have like little dumb questions or I'm kind of nervous about something, he's the one that'll help me out with that. And I think, if possible, everyone should have a mentor or a mentee, because being a mentor itself is just as powerful. I'm a strong advocate that teaching is one of the best forms of learning, where if you teach somebody something and you can teach it to 5 different people, then you learn for yourself what it means for real. And I know if you're interested in this, Black Hills Information Security's Discord page has its own section just for finding mentors and getting mentors. And the last one's the one we're most familiar with opportunity. And so when we're talking about opportunity, the first thing that comes to mind is getting jobs. And it's kind of the world that we live in now, that job hunting through connections is really the only way to get a job. But also, using your connections can be really helpful. I have a coworker who I used to work with. He would hop on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn has the option to put that you're open to work. And so he'd turn it off, and then every 6 months he'd turn it on, and then he'd have a bunch of recruiters contact him, and he'd say, hey, I'm not actually really interested in switching jobs right now, but I want to get experience with interviewing and keep that interview skill up and active. And I thought that was such a cool idea, because interviewing is terrifying, but if you're so used to it, when you actually need to interview for a position or if something comes up, if you have that skill ready and upkept, then it's going to be easy when it comes to it. And then bringing ideas to life. My biggest idea for this is, if anybody knows, DC 435 is kind of a newer group, and it used to just be DC 801, but one of the members was up here in Cache Valley, and he said, I don't want to have to commute all the time, and I know a few guys on my network that are interested in this, and he started it, and now it's a thriving group, and it's kind of cool because you could see his network brought in the people from their network, and it kind of grew like that, like a spider web. And so ideas can come to life through your network if you can fine-tune it and make sure your network is powerful. And then, like I talked about with social networks, learning is a lot better. I can hop on TikTok or Instagram and spend time on there learning about random facts of science and stuff that really isn't important, or I could have this cool Discord page or a cool Slack page where people are talking about stuff in my community that I can get a lot more understanding and feel a lot more applicable and useful to my life. And so I wanted to throw in a few tips and tricks that I've seen from my experience networking. And the first one is, this one I think is the most important one. When you make a connection on LinkedIn, LinkedIn's so easy to just hop on there. I found the person, hit connect, and then go on and hope that they find it. But they have an option there. It always says, would you like to leave a personalized note? And I never connect with anyone without leaving a personalized note, because if anything, it makes it easier to, this person I met at this, and that makes sense why they tried to connect with me. but also it opens a correspondence. So if you didn't know how LinkedIn works, if you hit connect and add a note, it throws it into your messages, and then that person is more likely to respond to you and start a conversation with you. And I'm going to share a few examples of how that's helped me after this. But another thing is that everyone loves to talk about what they love. I learned this quite a few times and have seen it being useful, especially if you're married, you'll notice this. Your significant other loves to talk about what they love, and sometimes you don't care about that. But if you take the time to at least listen and try and care, it's going to help a lot with those relationships. And that's the same thing with networking. If you go to somebody you don't know, find a common ground. Find something that you're both interested in, or something that they're really interested in that you can listen to. And it'll go a long way with forming a connection and having something to talk about later. And then the last one, that no enemy has too much health. I don't know how to put this, but I play a lot of video games, and I was thinking, you don't have to be afraid. Like there's never a way that you're going to hurt yourself by taking a shot of trying to connect with somebody. And a few other things I was thinking of, I was networking with somebody upstairs earlier, and he said that if it gets a little awkward, cracking a joke always helps. Finding something that you think's funny, that they think's funny, is going to help ease that tension. And then also, it works a lot like dating, where having a wingman is going to make you feel a lot more confident. They're going to be able to bounce things off. If something gets awkward, they can kind of intervene. But that works a lot with networking. I have a friend he was a lot more introverted, and it was interesting because when we would go talk to people, I would come down and he would come up, and we'd kind of be on even grounds, and then we'd be able to network a lot easier together. And so I'm a big advocate of finding a wingman and working with that. And finally, just do it. It's scary, but if you take that shot and go and talk to someone, you can form a relationship that can help you a lot in the future. This actually, I saw it yesterday during the keynote. I had a few minutes before where I wasn't doing anything, and I sat next to someone, and I was kind of scared. And then I thought to myself, hey, you're going to be talking about networking tomorrow, and you're scared to network. How's that going to look in your mind when you look back at this? And so I said, you know what, let's bite the bullet. And I scooted a seat over, and I introduced myself. And I actually had a great conversation with him, and I learned about him and made a connection with him. And I could use that in the future if I need to for anything that I'd talked about earlier. And so I wanted to go over a few examples, kind of as inspiration of how this has worked for me and how this can work for you. And so I've made a few connections. Webinars are something, I don't know if you guys, your inbox looks anything like mine, but I get webinar invites all the time. And I'm like, this is spam. But one day I was like, you know what, this sounds like a cool webinar. I'm going to go and attend it because I have an hour that I'm not doing anything. And so I listened in, and I found out that the guy was actually really cool. He told a really cool story about how he'd been in jail as a child because he grew up poor and he had to become a con man, and he ended up turning that around and becoming a pen tester and using that knowledge to do that. And I was like, this guy's so cool. I'd love to talk with him more, but I had no way to communicate with him. So I found him on LinkedIn, and I sent one of those personalized notes, and I had a little question in there. I said, hey, I loved what you said about your life, and it was really inspiring, and I wonder how you do this. And he ended up contacting me back. He connected with me, and then he said, oh yeah, if you're interested in this, and he gave me a lot more information. That was really cool. And I've actually, within school, I had a lot of really cool experiences reaching out to the webinar contacts, and it helped me a lot when I needed a speaker. I was in charge of the speakers for Utah State's Association of Information Systems, and I had seen these other people already speak, and I knew they were great speakers, and I had that great network to be able to do that a lot easier. One of those, I was scared because he was a CEO of a company, and he had came and spoken in one of my classes, and I thought, why not? Why not try it? The worst thing that happens is he sees my connection, and he hits the X, and it's gone, and he doesn't ever think about me again. But he ended up connecting with me, and he, in my message, he said, hey, do you want to meet for 30 minutes? And I was like, whoa, what? And I ended up talking with him, and I had a great conversation. He helped me kind of figure out my path and what I wanted to do, and it was great. Another time, I had another person come and speak in person, and I asked to connect with him, and he said, oh, yeah, what time are you free for lunch? And I was like, whoa, I just wanted to connect on LinkedIn, man. And he's like, no, yeah, I'll take you out to lunch. And it was a really good experience, and he helped guide me as well. And then Yeah, last year at SAINTCON, I I had decided I'm coming to SAINTCON. I'm not really from Utah. I don't know. I'm not from a security background. My dad's a mechanical design engineer, so I don't know a lot of people in security. And my goal was to meet people in security and form a network where I can have people that will help me in the future, and just people that I can communicate with about that and grow my passion. And I saw that somebody was presenting from a company that I love, from a video game company that I really liked. And I was volunteering last year, so I didn't have time to go and see him at his presentation. So I'm sorry, it came off as a little creepy, but I stalked him really bad. I found his LinkedIn page. I found out his name. I found out different things about him. And I went to people that I thought would know him. And I'm like, hey, do you know this guy? Do you know where he would be? And I ended up finding him through that at the lockpicking booth. And he actually was really cool and ended up giving me some really great advice. He helped me understand. I was really curious how it is working for a company that does something that you love. Like, if you love it and then you go and work for them, is that going to kill the thing you love originally? And I didn't want that. So I was curious because I was applying to different jobs at that time. And he ended up telling me that no, if you do it this way, it helps a lot if you're not working exactly in that thing. And that was a really great experience for me. And so I felt like giving you this information only matters if something comes out of it. Because we have sat through a lot of presentations coming up, and I wanted to kind of do a hands-on thing here. So I wanted you guys to find someone in the room that you don't know and try and put this to practice. Learn something that you have in common with them, and then form a connection with them. It doesn't have to be connecting on LinkedIn, but maybe exchange what your Discord handle is or something so that you can actually communicate with them in the future if something comes up where you want to talk with them. So I was going to take a few minutes and just allow you guys to go about this. I can see you all if you're not doing this. Okay, I'm going to finish up here. You know what? This almost brought a tear to my eye, though. This actually looks really good. I'm proud to see that I wasn't presenting on something useless, and that at least, if anything, somebody out here made a connection, and that it will help you. I promise you it'll help you in the future. And I just want to finish with, here's my LinkedIn page right here. I'm always open to new opportunity, and I promise this isn't, I'm not smart enough to make this anything malicious, but I promise that it's my LinkedIn page right here. But I would advise you to be my little worker bees and go out and share what you learned here. Maybe share something that you know that I didn't share, and network as much as you can, because if we can form a big spider web of all of us within SAINTCON, then we can spread it out beyond SAINTCON and get more people to come, and we're going to have to pay for the Real Salt Lake Stadium to meet up sometime because there's so many of us. But I have a strong belief that networking is really important, and so I'm glad that you guys were able to do something from that.